Chemistry Room Fragrances is the perfect addition when elevating the vibe of any space. Whether if it's your home, car, or office, and something needs a quick refresh, our room fragrances provide that beautiful burst of fragrance with just one quick mist. Shop now at www.chemistryroomfragrances.com and be sure to follow us on Instagram at Chemistry Room Fragrances. Chemistry Room Fragrances. Smells so good.
Hey everybody, what's going on? How are you doing?
Doing good.
Absolutely marvelous.
I'm so excited to have you guys here. So before we get started, we're gonna play a little game called This or That.
Okay.
So you gotta pick one. Okay, this or that. The whinings or commission?
For me, the whinings.
Yeah, the whinings.
Smart man.
I taught him well.
Okay. Peach cobbler or pecan pie?
Pecan pie.
Peach cobbler
Okay.
with good crust.
Good girls. All right. Soda or sweet tea?
Sweet tea.
Sweet tea.
Okay. Let's see. Sunday morning service or night service?
Sunday
Sunday
morning.
morning.
That's all we have
Hi,
anyway.
everybody in the day. Okay. Let's see. East Coast or West Coast?
I don't know which.
Like if you had a vacation, like go to New York or California, where would you go?
Oh, California.
California.
Okay.
Let's
See. Night out on the town or quiet evening at home?
Night out on the town.
Every now and then, night out on the town.
Yeah.
Okay. Warm beach or snowy cabin?
Girl, warm beach. Don't give me no snow.
You know, wherever she is, that's where I'll be. So.
Okay. Let's see. Thriller, suspense, or comedy?
Comedy.
Yeah, comedy.
Okay. And then one more. Let's see. I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave that one alone. Okay, with that being said, what's up, everybody? It's your girl Camille.essick. I'm host of the Speaker Podcast, the podcast where innovators and creators connect. Tonight, I have Pastor Anthony and First Lady Deborah Walton. We're gonna have a great conversation. Before we hop into that, be sure to share this conversation, tag a friend. We're gonna have a really good time. If you haven't heard, my good Black Men apparel is out now. The launch sale is still going on until Valentine's Day. So go to my website and use the coupon code GBM20. That way you can save 20% at the checkout. In addition to Chemistry Room Fragrances, I now have a duo collection available where if you want to get the 1 scent 2 or pair them together as a duo, they're really cute. They smell really good. You're absolutely going to love it. Ebook number 4 is out right now. I left the military from boots to stilettos. That ebook is now available as well on my website. And my sorors here in Charlotte, North Carolina, we are doing another Battle of the Sexes event. It will be at the Kappa House. If you have not purchased your ticket, go right now to Eventbrite for the Beta Omicron Sigma chapter there at Eventbrite and purchase your ticket. Come on out. That will be on Thursday night. I think the event kicks off at 6:30. So I'll be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. The radio personalities, Fly Ty and Jacinda will be hosting the event. It's going to be really good. We're going to have food. We're going to play some games. And that will be at the Kappa House with the Beta Omicron Sigma chapter of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. So I hope to see you guys there. So with that being said, Pastor Anthony, you've been on the show a couple of times before.
Yes,
so welcome back. We had you on the fatherhood panel. We had on the previous episode as well. But we also want to welcome First Lady Deborah Walton to the show as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So those that don't know, they've known me for years. So my pastor is Bishop Merritt, and they're the sister church from my church, and we've all just known each other and been friends for really years, for a long time, many years. So it's like a reunion every time I see you. So it's really good. So with you guys, what is your love journey? Like, tell us how you met. Because we know you now as Deborah Walton, but we don't know Tony. So who?
Well, they didn't really call him Tony.
Right.
He was more Lionel because he had the Jerry curl and he looked like Lionel Richie.
Oh, he was like Sweet G with that curl.
But yeah, he usually throws me under the bus when he talks about how we met. But we did meet in a nightclub. We met. He was doing stand-up comedy, and he was there. He
was in the comedy club.
Oh yeah, no. He'd been to the comedy club.
He was doing stand-up.
He was doing stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Lord.
Okay, he was hilarious.
Really?
Oh my God, he still is. But you know, that was what he was doing then, and and we met at the club.
Which one?
It was called the Bird's Nest in Nashville.
I think it's Zany's now, right?
Yeah, but no,
Zany's is another club, and he's been there too. But the Bird's Nest was it downtown?
I don't remember. Bobby Bird from the James Brown and the Famous Flames. Bobby Bird. It was his place.
Okay, I thought you were about to say Bobby Blue Bland. I was like,
oh yeah, I almost did.
I almost did.
Hey, the blues is all right. Okay. So you guys met at the comedy club. So what was his angle? Like, what did he say to you?
Actually, I went up to him.
Okay, you shot your shot. Okay,
I did. I wasn't scared.
Okay.
So I went up to him and introduced myself to him. But while I was shaking his hand, he would not let my hand go.
Oh, he was being fresh.
He just was holding on.
See, actually, there was some glue on my hand.
No, it wasn't. He was just holding on to my hand, and I don't know.
I was love struck from the beginning.
Yeah, that's what
I tell people all the time. I was love struck from the beginning.
Smitten. Yeah. You were smitten.
I was smitten. I think she put something in my drink or something.
He didn't even know me. He just saw me. He just
for the first time
just met me.
Did you hear that song, Southern Girl?
Oh man, but that's the way it was.
Okay. So we will also want to welcome. We have some guests in, so we want to thank everyone for tuning in. We're going to have a lot of fun with this conversation. And since you opened the door, First Lady, let's talk about that. Women today shooting their shots. Like, is that appropriate, or should the man be pursuing the woman? Like, I mean, you did, and clearly it worked out. So can you help us with that?
I can. No, I don't think a woman should be shooting her shot per se. Okay. Because the Bible does say a man that findeth a wife. So the man is the one that seeks out the wife.
That's in the Bible, though.
That's in the Bible. I wasn't in church. We were.
So it was anything goes.
Okay, so this was BC before. Okay, I got you. Go ahead.
Yeah, this was BC.
Yeah. So anything goes in BC.
Yeah, all was fair in love and war then. So it was fair for me to shoot my shot.
See, y'all, she knows the lingo. She's cool, okay? She's not your typical first lady. She knows.
Not at all.
Oh, no.
Not at all, man. Not at all.
Oh, my thing is, but you did it, and it worked out for you.
It did. It did. It worked out.
Okay.
Yep.
That was the beginning.
Okay, so can you kind of unpack why you feel like the man should do the pursuing?
Well, now, because that is the word. That is the word. And I think sometimes women can be, they can almost make a man intimidated if they come on too strong. or whatever. The man is the hunter. He's the one that wants to go. Not that women are prey, but we are. We're the prize.
Yeah.
And the man should come after the prize. So we have to be the prize. We don't need to come down and become prey, if that makes sense.
Yes, it really does make sense. Pastor Anthony, what do you have to say to that?
Well, I mean, it is definitely correct. The woman should basically wait for the man to make the first move, especially in church. Now, in the world, it don't matter, man. Anything goes in the world. So that's why, it wasn't really that big of a deal. We was heathens and sinners. That's why we was in the club. So, but I think it worked for us. So I wouldn't say that it should work for everybody, but to me, it worked. And if you want to be saved, go by the Bible so you won't have any problems.
Right.
But even in that, I mean, the divorce rate in the church is just, it mirrors the world. So, I mean, you can say, yeah, be saved, do what the Bible says, but we see people in the church getting divorced all the time.
You're right.
And, part of the reason for that is not a lot of churches have marriage enrichments. We have marriage enrichment. So we talk to our couples and everything and try to keep things on the table up and up. We try to deal with issues, not just have church, but we try to deal with all the marriage issues.
Do you think people come to church and they think church is going to fix everything, but not understanding when you come to church, you're coming with hurts and trauma anyway. And to use religion as a Band-Aid, sort of say, but also your circle of friends. You can be married, but who are you hanging out with as married people? Are there people around you that's going to kind of hold you accountable and be an insulator in your marriage? Or are you married, but you're still kicking with single friends? And I know people still have friends. I'm not saying ditch your friends after you get married, but shouldn't married people begin to insulate themselves with people that can mentor them through marriage with other married couples, maybe people that have been married 20 years, 30 years, kind of bend down that line to kind of give them some guidance on top of marriage enrichment, not even just premarital counseling when there's an issue, but just like when you go get your oil changed or to the dentist, like that maintenance throughout the marriage.
Right. And marriage enrichment, our marriage enrichment that we do is telling you how to maintain your marriage, how to strengthen your marriage, because the enemy attacks marriages, and it's the same thing. We all have basically the same kind of problems. So, but in church, a lot of times people have not been taught to talk about and share those problems. Okay, what did you do when you were going through this? First of all, you got to know people were going through it. And then what did you do? How did y'all handle that? That's what marriage enrichment should be about. Yes, it should be us hanging out with other married couples and doing things like bowling, but all of those things are activities, but we're not dealing with issues. So in our marriage enrichment, we try to deal with issues, not putting everybody's dirty laundry out there. But if it's an issue, if it has been an issue with us, it's probably an issue with somebody else. The devil don't have no new tricks. He just tries them on new people. So we try to cover issues. And I think that's what's missing in a lot of churches, church marriages and churches, period. That's what's missing, is transparency, letting people know we're not perfect. We have problems. And you said it earlier. That's what we come to church for, is to get help, to heal. It's not just to come to hear the choir sing or, see what First Lady got on, which, I don't know.
Well, see, and I just finished my lifesaver class before I got on this. And one of the things that I was saying about church, people come in church hurt. They come in already messed up. And then sometimes they get in there and they don't want anybody to know that they have problems. Like you said earlier, they think that the church is going to fix all the problems, but the church is not going to do that. You can go down in Jesus' name, speak in tongues or whatever, but that don't eliminate the issue that you came in with.
Right.
So sometimes they get married and have no idea who the other person is. And sometimes the other person don't even know who they are. So this is something that we try to do even in our premarital counseling. Mm-hmm. We try to make sure that they understand the issues that they're getting into. The woman has issues, the man has issues, and so when they connect, all the issues come together. So now that once they get married, they got to deal with them. Like Lady Walton was saying, what we try to tell people is this: they can live together for 20 years. Mm-hmm. Once they say "I do," that's when the devil comes in and starts dealing with it.
Right.
That's what because he wasn't bothering them as long as they were in sin. He had them. But marriage represents Christ and the church, and so once they do that, the devil comes in, and if they don't try to get some intervention, the devil can wreck a marriage. That's what he does, even in the church. He tears marriages up. That's why the divorce rate is so high, and the people in the world don't really respect the marriages in the church.
So, and the reason why I wanted to bring you guys on, because you two have a very interesting perspective on marriage, because when you got married, as you said at the beginning of this conversation, you guys met in the club. Right. And so what happened? Because you went to, if people don't know, you went to prison after you guys got married, right?
2 years after, yes.
Okay, so can you guys kind of take us there after you guys met, and then what happened at that point in your marriage?
It's kind of strange. Okay, we got married, and 2 years after we got married, I went to prison based on a crime that I had committed before I met her.
Right.
So the thing kind of came back and bit me after we got married. And so I had to go to prison for an armed robbery charge that happened back in 79, I think, or something like that. And I was given 12 years, but I only did like about 3 and something. But I didn't really know how much time I was going to do. Because if you give somebody 12 years, all I thought was 12 years. So I didn't know what was going to happen to us. I didn't know what was going to happen to me or anything. So I was there. I got saved while I was in prison. And I'm talking about baptized in Jesus' name, filled with the Holy Ghost, speaking in tongues in my prison cell. And she got baptized at Bishop Merritt's church. And let me back up. Bishop Merritt is the one that married us, and we didn't even know him, and he didn't even know us. He knew my sister, but so we was heathens. We couldn't get married in nobody's church, so we got married in some building downtown. So so he married us, and then we didn't even know him. But anyway, when I went to prison, I felt like everything was going to be lost. Everything was going to be gone. But I got saved, and I put my confidence in God, realizing that he was going to do whatever is best for me. So that was the only thing that kind of kept my head.
Okay. So First Lady, at this point when this happens, are you like, dude, really? I didn't sign up for this? Because now you're experiencing a shift in your marriage. Like this is one of those shifts that things happen in your marriage. So how did you, after he's gone, like where were you and how did you process this shift in your marriage?
Okay. Well, first of all, I thought the man was innocent. I thought this system that we have was corrupt, and it was kind of treating him wrong. And so I'm going to be the hero this time, and I'm going to try to get him out and, figure out a way. And because I thought he was innocent. I did not believe that he had done the crime, and he didn't tell me otherwise. He was saying he was innocent. So it really was a bigger shift than most people probably realize.
He told he told you he was innocent, but he was really guilty.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So okay. So then you're coming into the marriage with secrets.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And I pled not guilty all the way through. All the way through, not guilty.
It was it, and then so for me, it's like here I am in love with this guy that I know, because I didn't know the other person. That was before my time. But I'm in love with this guy that I know, the funny, have a great time with guy. I'm thinking he's innocent. So I go through everything. I mean, the putting up the money and getting an attorney, talking to anybody who would listen to me to see, saying they're railroading him. He don't belong in prison. So what can I do to get him out? That's where everything was for me. He's in there. I need to get him out. Not knowing that he was guilty. So when I found out he was guilty, because he did.
I know you had to been heated though. Like, really? You know?
Honestly, and you'll understand, I was at a service, and I don't remember where the church was, but it was a service that I was in, and for whatever reason, I was just boohoo crying, and I could not turn it off. I didn't know why. I didn't know, it wasn't like I was thinking about anything, but it was like I was crying and crying and couldn't turn it off. Well, then the next time I went and visited him, that's when he told me that he did the crime. And I couldn't even cry. I had no more tears left to even cry. I was shocked, but it wasn't like, it was almost like God prepared me to hear something bad. And I had already teared up and cried all my tears, so I didn't have no more tears. Wow. And I think it stunned me because I knew him one way and I couldn't see him doing something like that because I didn't know him then. So of course it hurt me, but I wasn't mad. But I did tell him when he got out.
Now I'm over here like, bruh, really?
Yeah, I know. I did tell him. I did say, if I wake up and just slap you, just know I had a flashback. That was way down the line. That was after he was out and everything like that. But it was a shock, but I was not, I think God prepared me for it. I really do.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see y'all in person again. I'm boy.
You have to come and visit us.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you do.
This Rona got to go on somewhere though, but yeah.
But see,
yes, sir. Go ahead.
The thing about it, after I got saved in there, I had to confront everything. So she was the last one I told her.
You went to jail and you got saved in jail.
Right. I got saved in prison. I got saved in prison.
In prison, okay.
Prison. It wasn't jail.
Okay.
Yeah, it was prison. That's a whole different story.
It's a whole different world.
Prison.
Yes.
Prison.
So First Lady, had you gotten saved at that time?
While he was in there, yes. I got saved while he was in prison.
So now your marriage is experiencing another shift because you met in the club, shift. Then he's committing this crime, goes to jail, shift. Well, you didn't even know he had did it.
No.
So that's two shifts.
That was before me. That was before he even met me.
But then, so he's holding this secret.
Correct.
Y'all kikiing, living your best life. He gets hemmed up, about to do a bid, goes to jail, gets saved. So now your marriage has experienced another transition.
Correct.
So how are you moving in this curve at this point?
How am I moving?
Both of you.
Okay.
It was difficult for me because love, being in love and everything, you never want to be away, especially after being married only 2 years. So I did not know what was going to happen. I really didn't. I didn't expect her to remain there. I really didn't. So I was preparing myself to have a split relationship, especially after I told her. I knew that when I told her, she was going to get up and slap me and walk out. That's what I was thinking. She's going to raise up off the chair and slap the daylights out of me and just walk out the door. But that didn't happen. So I was concerned the whole time I was in there, just concerned about the marriage. Okay.
So at this point, did this new revelation make you think of anything else you may have been covering up, like any additional secrets? Or where were you thinking at this time? Like, was there anything else he hasn't told me or something else I haven't told her, vice versa? Where was that? What was that looking like?
That didn't come while he was in there, but it did come afterwards.
Okay.
And I remember one incident, and I'm sure he'll remember it. He was in prison, for people who don't know, for armed robbery. That was the crime that he went to prison for. And so he was working at a grocery store, and some money came up missing. So automatically my brain went to, okay, this dude done started this all over again.
He's on a spree.
it was like I thought it. I don't think I ever asked him. I don't think I ever said anything to him about it, but I certainly thought, okay, I can't go through this again. So I wondered if it was something else he was covering up or doing, or was he done? That was what I was really wondering is, are you done yet? Because when that happened, it did make me wonder.
But I did know that she said something. I think even Bishop Merritt. It was almost like, did you do that? Are you back at your old things? I could, whether she said it or not, I felt that that's how they felt, okay. And it kind of bothered me a little bit, but it didn't, because I understood. Mm-hmm. You know, so it was an area there that I think both of us was a little bit unsure.
Gotcha. So can you guys kind of unpack, before we keep going through this journey with you guys, the importance of talking during the courting phase about things like this? Because people are holding secrets that can severely impact your marriage or the future of your relationship. And I think some people, and I've done it too, we get so caught up in, oh, he's fine, she's cute, and the feelings and the butterflies. But the importance of really sitting down and asking some real questions. Can you guys kind of address that? And
I wish we had done that. I think we were, I had already been in an abusive marriage. So I knew what I didn't want. And my husband says this all the time. You know, when you're in a relationship, when you were in a bad one and you get in another relationship, you start looking at that person and everything that they don't do like the other person did to you. So, but you can overlook red flags, things that they do, maybe that are not that big of a deal, but it's not as bad as the last relationship I was in. So I wish we had more talks. We talked a lot.
And she laughed a lot.
I laughed a lot because he was funny. He was funny. But we didn't talk about too much of the past stuff, because I didn't even share with him about my past as far as how the abuse was for me, because I didn't see the need to. Now, of course, we can say those are important topics you need to talk about. Right. Then we didn't have this
trauma. You're coming in with trauma.
Right. And most people do have issues. Trauma, yes, some people have trauma, but all of us have issues. So we have to learn how to, like you say, unpack those issues. We have to learn how, but we're so afraid that we're going to run somebody off, or we're going to lose this good person by telling them stuff that happened in the past that we rather not. We rather not, but it is necessary, because it can affect your future. It can affect your marriage. It can really affect it if you let it.
See, and we didn't have any premarital counseling at all. We didn't have anything like that.
We were heathens.
You know, we was heathens, so I guess it didn't really matter. but before we married somebody,
swerve on. Okay.
But before we marry anybody, we normally try to do that premarital thing, and we always try to tell them that they're getting more than the person that they see.
Right.
That they're getting some stuff from that nobody even knew until they say I do. That's what I say all the time. Once you say I do, that means all the past people come back in their lives. And a lot of times, when I try to tell the men that by the time we the woman that we get the woman, she's already been damaged for the most part already. You know, she's had some issues, she's had some abuse, some molestation, some rapes and everything, and they've already been damaged. But we don't see that. We just think, oh, we see that she's fine and blah 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 blah. We don't see the damage that they come with, because they don't tell you.
Right.
And even when they know it, they don't necessarily think that it has affected them.
Yeah. So okay, now you're in jail. And
prison,
you're in
prison.
You in prison. You are in prison, okay? You're in prison. You're on lockdown. You in prison.
Yeah, he's on lockdown.
Yes, you're in prison. And you're going through what you're going through on the inside. But then First Lady, well, at this time, you just Deb. You're going through transitioning. Now he's not here. So do you guys have a child at this time? Where are you at, First Lady, going through? Because I know you're probably like, I didn't sign up for this. And a lot of people, when they get into marriages and things, life starts to life on them. My friend says life be life. And when life starts to life on you, how are you moving and maneuvering, navigating this space?
Not that it was easy, because it was not. And people don't want to believe that because when you have an incarcerated spouse, you too, a part of you is also locked up. I'm out free. I'm not really behind bars, but a lot of what I did or could do as a married woman, I can't now, because a part of me is locked up. And you still have to be very careful with what you do, what you say. And I don't want to say a social butterfly, but I'm a people person. So a lot of that, I was even told, okay, you need to tone down some of that, because people are going to take it wrong because my husband's not here. And I get it. I get all of that, but I knew what I was going to do. I knew how far I was going to go and what I was going to do. But still, I think the Bible says something like, don't let your good be evil spoken of.
Yeah.
Trust me, I heard that a lot. But I had a daughter. I had a Jamie. You know Jamie.
Yes,
I had Jamie, and he has a son, little Anthony. So we already had children, So we still had to live. We still had to go about life, and with or without him, I still had to watch over my kids, do what I needed to do to take care of them and myself and him, because he couldn't do nothing, So it was, I still had to live. What I chose to do was, because we both got saved, I basically threw myself into the church. Every time and I got talked about this too, but every time the church doors open, I don't care if it was choir rehearsal, whatever was going on, I was there. I made up things like a newspaper, church newspaper, or doing something just so I could be at church, because I felt like I came out of the world. I knew what I was capable of going back to.
So you had to keep yourself busy. What's that
saying? Correct.
That is the devil's workshop. So you had to stay busy.
Correct.
So it became like a safe haven for you.
Yes, it did. And it was a lifesaver.
Yes, because you had long hair and,
she was all that, man. I'm telling you.
Period. So you knew. I got you. I totally understand that. So in this space, Pastor Walton, while she's keeping herself occupied, where are you at within yourself and your marriage in prison? Not jail, prison.
Right.
Still with a mind of uncertainty. Still with that, because we had only been married for 2 years when I went in. So to me, that wasn't long enough for it to be solid. So I was basically expecting things to end at any day. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't easy, especially, you in love, your heart is there, and here you are separated from that. And I did a whole lot of nighttime tear shedding. I mean, a whole lot, just tears just rolling down, because, that's a part of your heart. You miss that.
Right.
Not only do you miss that, you locked down, you locked up. Mm-hmm. You've been told when to eat, told when to use the phone, told when to go, all these things. You are treated basically like a dog. I had to say that, but then my heart is still there. What am I going to do with this pain? Because somebody is missing. It's like almost like a part of you is missing, and you can't function properly with that part that's missing. So it wasn't easy for me. I know both of us had our things that we dealt with, right, but it wasn't easy for me at all. And she came to visit me. That was my lifeline.
Right.
When she would come and visit me, it's like I could breathe a little bit better, and just seeing her, it helped. But then I don't know if it was. Sometimes I wondered is it worth it? Because when she leaves, she tears me. When she leaves, when she left from seeing me, I would be like, oh man, part of me just walked out the door. So it was difficult. It was difficult in every way. Even when I talked to her on the telephone, it was just difficult because I can talk to her, but I can't see her. Even when we came to visit, we couldn't embrace really. We had to kind of set apart. So it wasn't easy at all.
Okay. So now let's fast forward. Now you're out. Now you're having to adjust being around each other again, reconnecting. Was it awkward? What was the conversation like? Like, where were you two in that space? Because now you're shifting again as far as connecting. The kids have grown, they're bigger. You've missed some birthdays and things. And so now you're trying to kind of find each other again. So what was that like?
Well, I mean, it wasn't easy because, I went in one way, and then I come out another way. And it wasn't easy at all because I had made some strong adjustment. She had thrown herself in the church. Okay. I come out looking for some time together.
Right.
Okay. I'm out now, let's go on and pick up and just move on, but then it wasn't that easy. The adjustment was I had to kind of get familiar with her church activities. And that wasn't easy because, she had been doing that to keep herself alive. And I'm thinking, okay, she can stop doing that now. I'm here. But it wasn't that easy for her to just cut it off like that. Right. And it had a real serious impact on me.
Really? How so?
Yeah. Because I was expecting her to just be glad I was home. It's like, okay, he's here now. Let's eat, drink, and be merry. It's like, but I didn't. So I expected her to back up off of that a little bit and just give me some time.
Right. No, but she's not. She's kind of created a life for herself now, and she's kind of, I guess, finding a discovering herself in another way because you've been gone,
right?
And now you're just like, and she's like, no. So I'm pretty sure there were some interesting conversations. So how do you guys navigate those passionate conversations when she's saying, no, I'm doing this, and you're like, no, I'm here, and experiencing that friction?
It wasn't easy at all. I remember somebody even said to me, you're going to have to back up from church because he is out now and devote more time to him. And it wasn't that I wasn't trying to do that. Actually, I did, but a lot of times it wasn't seen as that because I didn't cut off everything. But there were things that I was cutting off, but it wasn't noticed. And it was frustrating to me because it's like I keep having to do the adjustments for him. I had to do this shift because he wasn't there to keep going. Mm-hmm. And now I have to do another shift because he is there. So it was frustrating. And a lot of things that he wasn't aware of that I was going through with other people, because people have their own opinions about stuff. They have their opinion about how I'm supposed to act, how I'm supposed to look, what I'm supposed to do, what I'm not supposed to do. And they shared their opinions with me. Well, they didn't share them necessarily with him the same way. So it was some frustrating times in there. But the one thing that I think both of us had decided to do was, okay, first of all, we never went to bed angry. We never went to bed without kissing each other goodnight or saying, I love you or whatever. So those kind of things, I think, were the things that kept us solid. Even though he was frustrated because I didn't put on brakes, and I was frustrated because he expected me to make another adjustment and put on brakes, if that makes sense.
It does. So was it hard for you to step back into the role of being a wife because he had been away for so long? Like, what was that like for you?
It was hard. Some parts of it were hard. And the reason I say that is because I didn't know. We had only been married for 2 years. And like he said earlier, he went in one way, not saved, not in church, neither one of us. But then when you come out, both of us are now saved in church. So he's got a whole different mindset than when he went in about a lot of things. His mind was not my mind. For instance, Christmas. I always had a Christmas tree, and I always had a Christmas tree, decorations and all this stuff, because that's the kind of what my family did. Well, he no longer wanted a Christmas tree.
It was the devil.
Yeah, he thought it was the devil, and there was no conversation about it. He just threw my tree away.
Oh no.
And it was like, okay, stuff. It was like, okay, now you just have to deal with it because we're not going to have this in our house. And I'm like, okay, well, but it was a shift, and it was different. So it was difficult. It wasn't difficult to be a wife. I think it was the what made it look like it was difficult to be a wife is because I couldn't just put on brakes with the life that I had gotten used to, the life that saved me, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The being at the church, doing it in the church, going with the church, all of that was my saving grace. Because if it hadn't been for the church, I would have been back out in the world. I would have gone back out in the world because of some of the people in the church. But I was there, and it was helping me to cope. So to just put on instant brakes, I couldn't do it. And that probably caused the most problems.
And it was very difficult. I think somebody even asked a question. Even though I don't know if I ever really realized until later, maybe that was her saving grace. I just felt like that she was gone. That's all I saw was that she was gone all the time at the church or whatever. And I didn't realize that was actually the thing that saved her. And so, but that once we kind of got past that, which it took a while.
Yeah.
It took a while because like she said, she couldn't throw on brakes. So, but she would kind of hit the clutch a little bit, kind of ease up a little bit on the brakes. So that was kind of difficult to deal with.
Okay, so now your marriage pivots again because you get called to the ministry.
Yeah.
And then to being a pastor.
Yeah.
So now you're pivoting again.
I actually knew or felt like God showed me he was going to be called to the ministry.
Really?
Before he even told me, I felt like it was. Now, as far as being a pastor, yeah, God didn't tell me that. I had to find that one out.
I was like, surprise.
So you doing you what?
Okay. But the one thing about that God has fixed me is if I do right by him, if he messes up, God's got my back. So all I got to do is make sure he's okay. So whatever I got to do, and that's kind of been what I've been trying to do our whole marriage is make sure he's okay. Make sure he's okay. Take care of what he needs. Do the best I can for him. It may not seem like it, but that's what I've been doing.
Okay, so you kind of cracked the door because you said if he messes up, God has you. And the reason why I'm going to kind of go down this lane is because sometimes I'm not married. I've never been married, but I've seen what some of my married friends have done. When the husband does something, they're on him. See, that's why, and so can you kind of first lady kind of unpack where you don't have to necessarily get on him or clap back, as they say?
Yeah.
Can you kind of address that a little bit more?
I can, as far as for me, I'm still learning it. Okay. Because there have been times, and I've said this to some of the married sisters, there have been times when I will say stuff like, what you need to do is, and I have had to work on that. And I may still say it, but I come back and I say, but that's my opinion, for what it's worth, that's my opinion. But you do you. because I know there's a difference in the way we think. So I can't always clap back on him because he may not think the same way I think or react, and because he's a man, I'm a woman. We got two totally different brain sets, and we're not going to be the same. We're not going to think the same. And I think that's the beauty of a marriage. He compliments me and I compliment him. So when I say God, if he messes up, I'm just talking about if he does something. If I don't like it, I'm just not a quiet person. I'm gonna tell him. I didn't like what you did. I didn't like what you said, because we've grown to that point.
Right.
We're at that point. I will say it. He may not, because that's how he is. But I'm going to say it because I'm not going to allow stuff to fester and grow in me and then come back and say stuff later. And then you got to remember what you did. No, you going to know what you did that I didn't like it when you did it.
Right. Start pulling receipts. And remember last Tuesday?
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because that's unfair to me. He has done that before. And that's unfair to me because I don't remember what I had for dinner 2 days ago. So how am I going to remember what I did or said 3 years ago? You know, that you've held on to or that bothered you. No, I'm going to tell you now if it bothers me, and then I'm okay. You know, I'm not going to hold it. That's a good thing that God has blessed me to just be able to say and let it go.
But see, with me, I'm always concerned about how it's going to come out and what's going to happen once it come out, and so just hold on to it. But then eventually it comes out.
It comes out.
Right, because you already played your trump card. You went to prison.
and ironically, I don't throw that trump card up at it.
So you don't weaponize. Okay, let's talk about that. Not weaponizing.
No.
Not weaponizing.
Oh, no.
I don't use that against him. I don't to have my way or to prove a point or whatever. I try. Now I may have brought it up as a reminder of something we may be talking about, and he may say something, but it's not like, well.
No, wait a minute, Jailbird. Wait a minute, Jailbird.
Yeah,
hold on.
Jailbird.
You wasn't saying that when you was at the Great Bar Motel, was it? No, I didn't think so. Like, you're not doing that.
But I don't use it as a weapon.
Right.
Because that's not fair. That's not fair to him.
Right.
I mean, he did his time. We got if I was gonna bring it up, I might as well have left.
Mm-hmm.
If I couldn't handle it, I should have left. If I was going to use it against him, I should have left. Not hold on to it and use it as a weapon. That's not right.
Because how can you heal and how can he heal? You know, because he's repented from the mistake and you keep going back and ripping that Band-Aid off. That's
absolutely.
Absolutely. He's paid his debt to society. You know, he was already feeling horrible, you know, as a husband and a father because he's not operating in the role he desired to be. So he's already dealt with that shame and you know, so to bring that back to him, I totally can understand that.
I don't think that should ever be used as a weapon.
But see, actually for me, and she's been really, really good about that. I don't remember her ever using it as a weapon since we've been married. Because I had told God not to ever let me forget that prison life. Mm-hmm. Okay. And he hasn't. I bring it up almost every time, Bible class, whatever. I bring it up often. Right. Then there are sometimes that I get a smell of something. Sometimes something go across my mind that it takes me right back. Right back. I mean, I'm talking about right back. It's just my whole mindset that goes right back in there. So I'm talking about being out for 34 years now.
Right.
You know, so, but I told God not to never let me forget. And he's done that. He's done that.
So, First Lady, because women, we have a nurturing, a healing aspect about us. So now that he's home, can you kind of unpack the importance and power of a woman as a wife in the home when it comes to setting the tone, the speech, and how it can really shift even when situations are hard?
Oh yeah. I may not be the right person to say tone. I try. See, I'm still in the learning stages. My family, first of all, we're all loud. We're just loud people. We talk loud, we laugh loud, we're loud. So I try not to bring loud in. We don't argue. Even when we disagree, we don't, it's not yang, 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 yang. We don't do that. He will walk away first before he argues. So, but to me, if we've gone through everything we've gone through, even when we have disagreements or whatever it is, if we can't sit down and talk about them right then, okay, we may need space. We may need that, because we've had times when we've spoken too soon and it came out the wrong way. Your tone, not just what you say, but how you say it, makes a huge difference in a conversation. I have said some things that came out wrong and had to come back and explain what I meant, because he didn't get it the way I meant it. So we have to be careful as women. Yeah, we are nurturers. And a lot of times women, and I say this to our sisters, we, depending on if you still have the time of the month and all of those things, we are emotional beings. So we react emotionally. Sometimes we just plain crazy. I mean, we can be up one minute and down the next, and the next minute we back up. So we have to know ourselves. We have to know ourselves, know our tone, know our intentions. Am I intending to say something to try to hurt him because he said something that hurt me? We have to know all of those things and figure out a way to have a decent conversation where we can move forward and not stay stuck in an area. We've been stuck a few times. We have. So a lot of what we do in our marriage enrichment is we try to help couples understand tone and intentions. It has a lot to do with your conversation in what you're trying to get over, the point you're trying to make.
So how did you get unstuck?
How do I what?
How did you get unstuck? Because you said there were times you guys felt stuck. So how did you get unstuck? Because this generation, there's a lot of people just going to prison. I'm getting a divorce. I'm out. I'm done. I ain't signed up for this. But you guys I feel like come from a generation of endurance. So how do people, because how long have you guys been married? Like 38 years, something like that?
40. About 40.
We celebrated 40 on January 1st. 40 years.
Oh, well, yes. You guys are veterans in the game. Okay.
Yeah.
Veterans in the game.
Yes.
Somebody said, people want to know, are you guys adopting adult children?
No, we got rid of our youngers and we ain't taking more.
We have a lot of children. We really do. We have a lot of children. Yeah, you can raise your hand. We have a lot of them. And I like the word you used, endurance, because young people, the generations now, they don't have that. They are, if I don't like the color socks I have on, I'm going to change them. And that's the way they go into relationships. If I don't like it, I'm going to change it. Well, start with you first. It's a word that's being left out, and it's commitment. You have to be committed to the relationship. I am committed to this man. I am committed to him, and I know he's committed to me. That's why it was easy for him to sit in my hospital bed when I had my kidney removed, just being there. Commitment. I was committed to him while he was in prison. Even though we just been married for 2 years, I was committed. So I wasn't going anywhere. We have to be committed to the relationship. And nowadays, that's one of those words that they're not committed to jobs, they're not committed to relationships, they're not committed to commitment. You have to be committed.
Yeah, I think this is a generation, they want everything now. What I call the microwave society.
Yep.
Everything is given to them. There's a sense of entitlement. And when it's living my best life mentality, and when things kind of get a little hairy,
change.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Chop the deuces, I'm out. It's like to hear that you guys have been married for 40 years, going through all of this and still here. And then now you guys at your church now have a marriage enrichment. So because of your journey, you have an interesting, and what I feel a certified stamp as far as the place and authority that you can give advice on relationships and marriage because of your journey, because you have committed to each other, you have endured several pivots or shifts in your marriage, and you're still here, whether it's prison, being sick. You've written a book about it, which we're going to talk about in a little bit as well. But you guys have kind of stood the test of time.
Yeah. And we have.
Yeah. Through all the difficulties and everything. I mean, it's been a ride, but it's been a very worth it. And I tell people, even though I say 40 years that comes out of my mouth, it doesn't seem like it's been that long. You know, when I say it, it's like, wow, 40 years. But it really doesn't seem like it's been that long at all. Because, you know, we're still kind of learning each other. We're still enjoying ourselves, still having a good time, especially since our kids are gone.
They're not gone. They still here.
So now that you're been in prison, survived it, called to ministry, pastor, kids, Alex and AJ and Jamie and, you know, grandkids and church people, their issues. So how do you guys still find your personal identity and individualism and be connected with all these other moving parts?
You know, one of the things that I try to tell I'm ministers and can't really get it through the pastors. Your family is your first ministry. That's your first ministry. And if I can't be the right kind of husband for her, I don't need to be a pastor. That's not
people that put their ministry, and I'm a PK, and you see, you give everything to the church, and then you have a lot of bitter, angry, mean, resentful first ladies, and they're mean to everybody because they're feeling, you know, can you kind of go into that more?
Well, see, when the church becomes the other woman, I think that's how they describe it. The church is the other woman. And I had made my mind up because I saw so much of that, what you just said. I had made my mind up that I was never going to make my wife feel like she's the second woman or whatever. I made my mind up that wasn't going to happen. And so that's what we've been doing. I've been making sure that, you know, she's on our church board. You know, she does a lot of work in the church. I keep her informed with everything. So she's a part of the church. And that helps us because a lot of things that we do it together because it's in the church. And I don't know too many pastors that have their wives on the church board. You know, they might be in the kitchen somewhere doing stuff, but not on the board. So I've learned from other pastors on what not to do.
Yeah, so you have to understand that your wife and your family comes first.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And I think too, the pastors need to understand the wife. Listen to her. You know, sometimes they think it's just you just being a jealous wife, but no, there are sometimes when I'm saying some stuff that I see that you may not see. Like I said earlier, we complement each other. He may not see everything. I may see something, and if I bring it to you, don't just automatically jump to I'm being a jealous wife. No, I'm seeing something that you're not.
That woman's intuition is real.
Yeah. And I think in it was Abraham, what is it? Where he said, hearken to thy wife.
To the wife.
To the voice of your wife.
Yeah.
Listen to her. Listen to her.
And a lot of times, sis, it's like it's a growing process, especially if it was a pastor, you know. And talk. When I say things like that, she's not necessarily a jealous person, but she tells me that I'm not right when I say that. No. But she's not necessarily a jealous kind of person. So we have a lot of times when we're communicating, and I'm not thinking that it's jealousy. I'm just thinking that she basically sees something that I don't see. So it's easier for me to listen to her than maybe not, because I know how she is. So but it's a growing process. The church is basically filled mostly with women. So that can be a dangerous thing if a man is not committed, right. And the commitment has to start with God. If a person is not committed to God, they are subject to do anything.
Yeah, Bishop, I made you a pie.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you come over my house and get it?
Cake on out of here with that box cake and go sit down for it.
No, you just say, I'll take it. Thank you.
Right in the trash.
I didn't say
that.
We got some sisters who can make some good cakes and pies there, so I'll eat them. I'll eat them.
You're a good one, because I probably just filed 13.
I know.
Y'all pray my strength.
Bless her, Jesus.
Okay, so then we go to the importance of marrying and understanding purpose, because when you get married, what's it saying? If you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. So when you guys met in the club, you guys had another agenda, but God's like, no, you know what? This is what we're going to do. And so now you're with two people that both have a purpose and assignment on their life, not just as husband and wife, but in the ministry. Or it could be entrepreneurship. So people have to learn how to adjust. How do you live and work together and complement each other's gifts, where there's not, because I've heard people say that they married a spouse, and one spouse, especially if someone's kind of more in the forefront, there's a jealousy or envy there, or there's a spirit of competition, or one may even have a spirit of sabotage. So can you kind of unpack the importance of marrying people that complement you, your gift, and your purpose and your assignment?
Well, that's not something that you know at the beginning.
Okay.
You don't know that. You don't know, because at the beginning of the relationship, everybody's putting up a front. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't really know the real person until after you've married for a few years. So nobody really know whether they're going to compliment you or not. You just kind of looking at the beginning, newlywed kind of thing. Gaga goo goo. So you don't really know that much about the person. So you can't really. You have to learn to compliment each other by communicating.
Okay.
See, that's one of the things that's left out a lot of times. People don't communicate, and communication is more than just talking, waiting on you to finish so I can say something. Communication is like what she said earlier. When things come out of her mouth, by the time it gets in my ear, it's not what she said.
Nope.
So we have to learn to communicate. Ask a question. Did you really mean that? No, that's not what I meant. So that's what communication is. And a lot of times you have to learn to communicate in order to find your common ground, or to find out
clarity. So you're wanting clarity and communication.
Exactly. Okay. But you have to communicate to do that. Because a lot of times she says some things and I do something totally different. She said, I didn't say that. I guess you did. It's like, no, I didn't say that. What did you say? And now you have to communicate and find out what the person said, so you can respond based on what they said and not what you think they said. Okay. So it's a process. It really is. It really is. You don't really know until you grow into it. Gotcha. A lot of times that's what happens. You grow into that.
Good. So, okay, now you guys have a marriage enrichment ministry there at Christ Temple in Paducah, Kentucky. Can you kind of give us a little background as far as what you guys do, or what that entails? What does that look like? Are you guys filling out worksheets, eating chicken? Like, what is going on?
I love me some chicken, do what? Oh Lord.
We have done the eating part, because that's what saved folks do. They eat. But what we try to do is deal with issues. Sometimes we have questionnaires. We do different things. Sometimes we do ask questions. We allow them to ask us questions, just like what you're doing. they may have an issue going on. We don't have people, if they bring up an issue, they can bring it up anonymously so that nobody knows whose issue it is. But if they feel comfortable enough to talk about it, we just talk about it. And so we don't have a actual form that people have to fill out in our marriage enrichment, but we do all of the above. We eat, we have question and answer. We do icebreakers. We do different things, but the main thing we try to do is deal with issues, marital issues, and people have them.
Most of the time, everybody has the same kind of issues.
Right.
So it's easier for us to talk about things because we know that people are going through those things, and they don't really want to talk about it because they don't want anybody to know that their marriage might be a little bit shaky. So, but we always try to tell them, before you get a divorce or whatever, bring in a third party. You know, if you got a situation that you feel like you can't come together with, bring in a third party. We'll be willing to talk to you. And like my wife can talk to the man, I talk to the woman or whatever, get different views. So we try to be there for them to keep them from separating or whatever. We do the best we can with that, because that's, even if we have ministers, I would not let them do any type of ministry unless their home is right. Mm. You know, these are the kind of things that I feel is in the importance of the home. It's your first ministry. I don't care how anointed you are. I don't care how good you can preach or sing or whatever. If your wife looking at you like, you know, no, you got to go home and get that straight. Mm. That's important to me. That's how important marriage is to us.
Wow.
We make it important.
Wow. So deal breakers, is there a deal breaker? Is there a line or boundary that people should have in marriage? Should they discuss the deal breaker? Or, you know, like, okay, if you do this, I'm done. Or is it just across the gamut?
Are you talking about before they get married?
Before they get married, and even in the marriage, like, do you have deal breakers? Is there a deal breaker?
You mean things like, if you do this, I can't be with you.
Right.
I think some things are pretty common deal breakers. Like if you bring your girlfriend to my house or your boyfriend to my house, you know, you're going to have to leave. You know,
y'all got to go. I ain't going nowhere.
But I think some things are automatic. People know certain lines not to cross. But if there are other things, those things need to be talked about. Like I don't like all your clothes thrown all over the floor. You know, some things might not be a deal breaker, but it could cause some real serious issues. That could be a deal breaker. Right. You know, you would think that maybe it's some major things. A lot of times it's just a little small things. The Bible says the small foxes destroy the vine. A little leaven leavens the whole lump. So sometimes it don't have to be a gigantic thing, because sometimes people don't know what the deal breaker might be until it happens.
Okay, so what if you tell somebody, hey, if you do this, you know, I don't like if you do this, and they could, like, okay, yeah, and they keep doing it. Like it's the behavior doesn't change. Because what's the saying? Apology is changed behavior. So what if they say you have the talk, the intervention, and let's say it is clothes on the floor, and they continue, they just won't stop. How should someone address that, or what do you do?
I think if somebody has an issue like that, because that can be an issue, then you try to convince the person that's doing it to stop doing it. And you try to convince them to understand the negative effects that it's having on the marriage. And sometimes if they can't do that by us trying to talk to them, then they're gonna have some real serious issues that could eventually cause some problems.
Eventually. It could, but also because we've dealt with people who had a problem when you've been married for 2 years. When you've been married for 5 years is no longer a problem. I mean, even if it continues to happen, or if it happens again, it's not that big of a deal to me, because you mature. Some things that bother you in the beginning may not bother you after a year or 2 or 3. So communication is still got to be in there, and I don't think it's always this is my brain, just a wash, because that's what this generation is doing. If they don't change, if they don't stop, if they can't pick their clothes up, then I'm done. That means they don't love me. They don't care about what I say. And it could be, but it could be something else going on too. So are you willing to kind of walk through it for a little while and see what happens? Because if it no longer bothers you, is it really a problem?
Do you think some people use it as an excuse to leave? Like you come into the situation anyway, like, let me see. But the first offense, the first time you color outside the lines, chalking up the deuce, I'm out.
If they're using it for an excuse to leave, it don't have to be that. It could be anything. They'll find if they're wanting to get out, they'll find a way to get out. They'll just blame it on something else.
Right. That's
yeah. But they are wanting to get out of it anyway. It's almost like even if they'll do everything right, they're gonna either get out of there or be having an affair. And then plus back to this thing too. I'm using the clothes on the floor thing. Sometimes how you were raised has a lot to do with when you go into a marriage. You understand what I'm saying? Like if I left all my clothes on the floor, mama came and picked them up all the time or whatever, then I'm going to expect her to pick up my clothes off the floor too. So she's seeing it as an issue. I'm seeing it like that's what you're supposed to do.
So that goes back to what we said before, as far as having those conversations about expectations.
Yeah. And that's part of when we do premarital counseling. Expectations is one of the topics we talk about. We have the man and the woman, the ones who are getting married. Okay, we need you to write down your expectations, because he expected me to cook all the time. I expected to be at the table and eat when he eats. Who's gonna cook? But and I know we're making a joke out of it, but expectations should be talked about. Because if I expect him to cut the grass and he has allergies, then my expectation needs to change. We're going to have to pay somebody to cut the grass.
Or would you just expect him to take a Benadryl?
Or he can take Benadryls make you sleepy. So they got
a non-drowsy formula.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, we might have to do that. But it's necessary. And then you're still not going to get all of them. Because you're going to learn some as you go.
Now that's what you just said, and what you just mentioned. Expectation is a big issue. Okay, that's a big. Like she said, what do you expect in the marriage other than sex? What else are you expecting? Right. Little things like that people don't talk about.
Right.
What are you expecting? So when they put it out there, and the person would know whether they're going to do it or not before they get married. Oh, no, I can't do that. No.
So I do have one more question before we get to your book, before we start to wrap up. How do people that are married deal with a spouse that's unsupportive of what they're doing?
Leave him. No, I'm just playing. I'm
out of here. That is difficult, because if a person is not supporting you. Now, let me throw this in there too. Sometimes you got to put some blessed oil in their shoe on their side of the bed and in their clothes. I'm telling you, this is real talk. Sometimes you really got to pray, and for real kind of pray. And I've heard this so much. Put some blessed oil on their side of the bed, in their shoes or whatever. But something like that, supporting, that's a big one, because I can't do this thing if you're not supporting me. It's going to be difficult.
But still, on another side, because I'm always on the flip side, what am I supporting something that's a God thing or just a you thing? And when I say that, and I'm not talking necessarily about entrepreneurship or whatever, but it's like pastor and wife. Okay. If he's supposed to be a pastor, but I think he's not doing a great job, or I don't really think he's called, am I supposed to support that and just watch a church die and die myself spiritually? Or what? I've always asked that question. I will be supportive to a point, but you better make sure it's a God call. It's a God call. And God will let me know if it's a God thing, because I don't want to support something that's not got God's stamp of approval on it, because it's probably not going to work anyway. So I think support has to be God.
Yeah. And it'll be difficult to support somebody when you realize that it's, or you feel like that it's not right, or that it's not God, or whatever. That would be very difficult. That's why it's so important to communicate and to trust the other person's vision or spirit about certain things. So a lot of it has to do with trust and communication and all of that. Trusting the person that they are got your best interest at heart or whatever. Those are things that need to be dealt with and talked about on a regular basis.
That's good. So, pivoting, you guys have written a book on marriage. What inspired you to write the book? What is the book about? Where can it be purchased?
Actually, the book is called Married or Roommates.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what it's called. And you can get it on Amazon.com. And we talk about everything from mixed marriages, the difference between white people and black people, because there is a difference.
The interracial marriage?
Yeah, no, not interracial, just in general. I guess, you can't be interracial, but the white person got to know what the culture of the black person and vice versa. Because there's a different kind of, like a white woman different than a black woman. A white man is different than a black man. So there's a difference in culture, and they come into the marriage with different ideas about certain things. Okay. And so we try to make sure that people understand that if you got a black woman, she's gonna be different than a white woman. Right. Black woman ain't gonna take a whole lot of stuff. White woman, they'll take some stuff.
Well, why are you doing that?
Anyway,
but so we got a lot of things that we talk about, because it's like let me see what I can say. Being married, husbands and wives, we give them their responsibility, the blessings of good communication, dealing with the cup on the table. Don't take it personal. That time of the month, the cycle, pregnancy, communication tips, a communication questionnaire. What would you do if certain things, whatever? Do you know your spouse's love language? Are you still muddy? Dealing with thoughts of ex-lovers, steps, exes, and others. Ooh. Black marriages, are they really that different?
Body count, your spouse is competing with a memory.
Say that again.
Okay. Let's say you have a high body count. You get married. Now your spouse is competing with a memory.
She lost me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. High body count.
Yeah. You've been with a lot of people.
Oh, okay.
Mileage. You got some mileage on you.
Okay.
Right. You've been with a lot of people, and so
as they call it now, it's called community.
Okay.
Yeah. So you say your spouse is dealing with
let's say somebody's been very promiscuous. They've been out there doing some wild things, and they get married, and now your spouse, your partner, they don't know that they're competing with a memory.
Yeah, that makes sense, and I guess that's a good way to put it, because that is what they feel like they're competing against. You mean competing against their memory,
the memory,
their sexual memory.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's true, but it's probably not intended, but it has to be there. It has to be there, because you can't have a lot of, I don't know. I'm just not going
to. People. To me, I think so, because this is just me. I feel like if you've been with a lot of people, one, that's a lot of soul ties you've created. Two, you've had all these escapades. Maybe both partners, spouse, husbands, whatever you want to call it. Now you're coming together, and now people are not satisfied because they remember how it was over here and how it was over there. And you're with each other, not knowing you're trying to enjoy being with this person, but you're having flashbacks in your mind because you have a bar. And if you feel like they're not meeting this bar, the standard that you have, now you're not unfulfilled.
Okay,
does that open the door for somebody to want to wonder, or
Yeah.
But I don't think that, again, if you're communicating, if you are expectations if you're talking about expectations, if you're being real, now nobody can compete with what's in your mind, what your memory. I can't compete with what his memory is. He can't compete with mine. But if we've given expectations, if we're going to be honest and transparent about some stuff, both people are coming from a past, but that's why it's called a past, because that's where it needs to stay. If we keep dragging our past into our present, what we're going to end up doing is losing time in our present for something we can't even change. And that to me is a waste. That's a waste of precious time. And there's no, if you stuck in this memory of what it was like, if that's where you are stuck, then you need to go back there. Because nobody can fight that. Nobody can compete with that. So I don't think it has a place. People do it. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure they do. But when a commitment, expectations, and then of course, when you start realizing we are to become one. We can't keep separate lives. I can't keep my memories. He can't keep his memories, and we become one. So if we're going to become one, we both have to let go of memories, those things that we thought we were attached to or whatever. If we're here now, leave that back there. It's gone.
I mean, and even if it's gone, there's sometimes when what you're saying is that even though it's gone, do the person think about what they left behind? That's what you're asking, right?
I guess my thing is people
compare
the comparison.
Correct.
And the person they're with, they're not aware of it. And so this person is experiencing some they're not fulfilled or satisfied in certain areas of their lives because their mind is going back to,
where it was.
Yes.
How it was or used to be.
Right.
But if they stay back there, they're not going to ever enjoy where they are.
Right. And I think
that's where they stay.
Right. And that opens the door for temptations and other things because you're entertaining other things.
Correct.
And so maybe them putting the clothes on the floor, they're mad about that, but they're not mad about the clothes on the floor. They're really mad about this over here. So now it starts manifesting, and dissatisfaction is the chicken is good, but you didn't use enough Larry's. It becomes other things. So now
you're right.
That you're not satisfied with stuff when it's really internal because your mind is still over here.
Could be. And it could very well be. And I think he said that earlier. This could be just a symptom of something deeper. It could be. But that's why we need communication. Not talking at each other, but to each other and understanding.
And I'm going to say this part right here and we can move on to something else. I think a lot of times if there's communication and the person that was back there basically got hurt, even though they might have been enjoying whatever it is, but their heart was damaged. Sometimes they have to remind themselves the reason that they're not there. Even though they might have memories, they need to also remember the hurt. That's what's going to keep their mind from going all over the place, having memories. They also need to remember that they were hurt, that they were misused or whatever, because there's more to it than just a pleasure.
Right.
Some pain came with that.
Or they still would be there.
Or they still would be there.
Very true. That's really good. So we're going to wrap up. Before we leave, what are some nuggets or jewels you would like to leave? Because I do want to bring you guys back. You guys are a lot of fun talking to. And for those watching and listening, if there are questions that you would like to ask them, they're going to give the social media for them in a minute. But before you wrap up, are there like nuggets or jewels you would like to give the listeners and viewers until the next time?
For me, first thing I want to do, I read some of the comments that were coming up, and I want to thank people for listening and understanding. Don't be afraid to be real. It's only one you. You are unique. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. So let people know the real you. and I have to learn how to taper down sometimes, because sometimes I can come across as harsh, because I do speak my mind quite well. But don't be afraid to be you. When you're in a marriage, you want a person to love you for you, right, for not who they may think you are, but for the real you. To me, that's priceless, because then I don't have to remember how I acted yesterday and then try to be that person today. I'm going to be me. I'm going to be me, and he knows me and he loves me for me. So just be real. Be real.
Yes, I love it. What about you, Pastor Walton?
Well, it all boils down to communication. That's what we normally try to stress in our marriage enrichment. Communication. We try to explain what actual real communication is, so they will understand when they leave us. They would understand how to communicate. It's not just talking; it's communicating. So that's the biggest thing that I would try to tell anybody. Yeah. Learn to communicate.
I love it. And what is the name of your book again, and where can it be purchased?
It's called Married or Roommates, and you can go to Amazon.com and get it. Married or Roommates.
Okay.
By Anthony and Deborah Walton.
Love it. And where's your social media handle? What are your handles for Facebook and Instagram?
The church is Christ Temple Paducah, and mine is basically Anthony Walton, and hers is Deborah.
Is yours Anthony E. Walton?
Yeah, Anthony E. Yeah, Anthony E. Walton. E.
Put that E in there.
Yeah, gotta put that in, because there's a whole lot of Anthony Waltons that ain't me.
Put some respect on his name.
Yes.
Yeah. So hers is Deborah Walton, and mine is Anthony E. Walton, and the church is Christ Temple Paducah.
I love it. I love it. Well, first of all, everyone, I want to thank you guys just for joining me. I had a great time here chatting with you guys. And I also want to thank the listeners and viewers for chiming in. For those that had comments and questions, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. The merchandise is still available. The launch sale is still going on. Be sure to use the coupon code GBM20. The sale ends Valentine's Day. We're going to continue the Heart and Soul Conversations next Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, 6:30 Central Time. So to make it easier for you, if you live where I live, it's 7:30. If you're in Nashville, Kentucky, Tennessee, it's 6:30. Made it simple for you. Go ahead and we'll see you there next week. We're going to have Reverend and Reese Ponder. They're going to come and talk to us about their relationship, their love journey, and being in the military. I met Reese while we were serving together in the Navy, and she's become like a sister to me. And so she, her and her husband, they're going to come on and sit down and talk to me next week. And then the following Tuesday, on February 22nd at 8 p.m., which will be 8 o'clock my time, 7 o'clock your time, we're doing a singles panel. That's going to be really interesting, guys.
That's going to be good.
And we're going to close out the month of February with the singles panel. So tap in, share, let someone know. If you missed the replay, go back and rewatch it. You can catch it here on Facebook, and be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Y'all, these braces be wearing me out. YouTube channel. Subscribe and hit the notification button, and go to the website, thespeakerpodcast.com. That way you can stay in the loop on what's going on. And again, I hope you guys got something from this. Be blessed. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And you guys hang tight.